All right, so some shorter notes today. Today, again, we're going to look at equations, like for the whole chapter. And so far, we've looked at ones that look like these top two right here. Like this one right here has a name. It's called a one-step equation. The reason it's called a one-step equation is it takes one step to solve. So how many steps do you think that next one's going to take to solve? Well, that one's called a two-step equation. And the next one that we do is not going to be called a three-step equation. And again, this one takes two steps. You need to get rid of that 3 and that 2. Do you guys remember which one we have to get rid of first from yesterday's notes? That 2. But anyways, today's not called a three-step equation because depending on the way that you solve it, it could take 2 steps to solve. It could take 5. So hopefully, if you do it the correct way, most of the time it'll take like 3 steps to solve. And that's what I'm going to show you today. So it's something like today. Do you notice what looks different about this? There's something big that's different about it. Why don't you pause the video, write what you think is different, and then unpause it to test yourself. Well, hopefully you noticed that this thing has variables on both sides like that. And as long as you wrote something similar to that, variables on both sides, there's x's on both sides, that's what today is going to be different. Like, that's how today is going to be different. So today, the types of equations will have these variables on both sides. Now, we already know a lot of techniques to solve equations. We already know how to do the bottom of this ladder here. We already know how to do one-step equations. Like if I have 3x is equal to 6, it's a one-step equation. How do I get rid of that times 3? You divide by 3. We already talked about two-step equations up on top there, so we know how to do those. This next one, again, is not called a three-step equation. I want to try to make it so it looks like yesterday. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pretend, not mess up this right here, I'm going to pretend that I have a magic wand and I can cover up this 2x. And say, oh, wouldn't that be super easy? I think it would. So what do you think I could do? What mathy thing do you think I could do to take away that 2x? So say, I obviously don't have a magic wand. I'm not Harry Potter or Hermione Granger. What can I do in math to get rid of that 2x? What's a mathy thing to take away 2x? What operation? Hopefully you're shouting out subtraction, because I'm going to minus 2x on both sides. And then if I minus 2x from this side, what do you think I got to do to the other side? Obviously, I'm going to minus 2x here as well. And when I do that, this will make 0, just like when we did two-step equations yesterday. And now I should have a two-step equation after I do some math here. 5x minus 2x is 3x plus 2 equals 8. Is that a two-step equation? Yeah, in fact, it's the same exact two-step equation that is up there. So the big step that we're going to do today is get rid of one of the variables. Okay? We're going to move all the variables to one side. That's the big thing, getting all the variables to one side. Because then after I do that, it turns into a two-step equation. I know how to solve this. I'm going to get rid of the thing that I'm not attached to. I'm going to get rid of that bouncer to get 3x is 6. And now I can get rid of that hugger with the thing that I'm really attached to. Divide by 3, and you end up getting x is 2. Okay? That's it. That's why I said it's sort of a short notes today. I have a couple more examples to go over with you guys on the next page. Typically, the better variable to get rid of, if you look back at the last one, I did this too, is the smaller of the two. And the reason I do that, and I'd get the same answer either way, is because, like on this one, for example, I could get rid of this 7n or I could get rid of this 10n. If I wanted to get rid of the 10n, if I wanted to get rid of the bigger one, and I'd subtract 10n from both sides, and I'd get negative 3n's over here. And I don't want to do that. I don't want negative 3 right here. But if I subtract 7n's there, and then here because the mirror, those go away. I get negative 5 is, what's 10 minus 7? 3n's plus 13. And now it's a two-step equation. There's no negatives over here. There is a negative over here still, but whatever. So how do I solve this two-step equation? What do I get rid of first? The 3 that's attached or the 13 that is not? Obviously the 13 that is not. By subtracting 13, you end up getting 3n's is negative 18. Now what? How do I get rid of that? Times 3. Divide by 3. And you end up getting n is -6. All right, one more that I want to go over with you guys, and then I just have you guys trying to, and that's it for these notes. This is a pretty quick one. So on this one, do I have variables on both sides? Obviously I do. So let's get rid of one of them, and hopefully it'll turn into a two-step equation. What's the better one to get rid of, a 10y or a -5y? Well, we haven't talked about one like this yet. How would I get rid of a -5y? I'm going to add 5y. And if I add 5y on this side, what does my mirror make me do on the other side? Obviously add 5y to get 15y's is 60. Any arithmetic bosses out there thinking they can do this pretty quick? Y is 4. And that's it. So what I want you guys to do now is try these two. Why don't you pause the video, try them both, and then unpause it to see if you were successful. All right, so on this top one, I'm going to subtract 11 first, or 11 m's, sorry. Notice how I'm making a nice 0 right there. I'm not bringing down a 0. I'm going to bring down a -6. On this other side, I'm going to bring down a 2m, because 13 minus 11 is 2, and a -22. On this next step, I'm going to add 22 on both sides to get rid of them. To get 2m is, I always stink at this, 16. And then divide both sides by 2 to get m is 8. Okay? Pretty easy. Let's try number 2. Number 2 I actually think is a little bit easier. What do you have to get rid of first there? The 5m or 5y or 4y? You're going to get rid of that 4y by adding 4y's on both sides. Those go away. 9y is 36. Divide both sides by 9. You get y is 4. Okay? And that's it, guys. Let's do some final thoughts, and we are done with this video. If you have variables on both sides, always move them to one side before you can do anything else. Usually it turns into a two-step equation. If you look at this one right here, it actually turned into a one-step equation, and it also turned into a one-step equation up here. So that's nice. If you do it the right way, it'll turn into a one-step equation even. In a two-step equation, get rid of the thing that you are not attached to. Remember my cute little story, I can't spell attached, from yesterday. All right, guys, that is it. Thank you for watching.